Superhumans. I'll talk about it after.
Yes, I can, suddenly, yes, I can. Gee, I'm afraid to go on has turned into, yes, I can. Take a look, what do you see? 133 pounds of confidence, me. Got the feeling I can do anything, yes, I can. Something that sings in my blood is telling me, yes, I can. I was just born today, I can go all the way, yes, I can. 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 Hey, yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can!
Are you ready? I can climb Everest. Yes, I can. I can fight here all night and never rest. Yes, I can. I was just born today. I can go all the way. Yes, I can.
So that was the Yes I Can campaign. We're the Superhumans. I was part of that. Did you spot me going around the velodrome? Kind of looking similar to that. So my name's Jody Cundy. I'm Paralympic champion multiple times. Been to 7 Paralympics. Way back in '96 when I used to be a swimmer. And then in 2005 I transitioned to the cycling team and continued racing, and I've just done the recent Paralympics in Tokyo where I won a gold and a silver. Thank you. So I've had the lucky privilege that I've been in a Paralympic sport through all its transitions. So when I first found out about Paralympic sport, nobody really knew what Paralympic sport was. I didn't even know. It took parents of a person who was missing an arm at a swimming gala to tell my mum and dad that the Paralympics even existed. Now it's live streamed everywhere and everybody knows who a Paralympian is, and they'd see them on TV. There's adverts with people with prosthetic limbs, wheelchairs, all kinds of disabilities. And these campaigns have really helped kind of develop that, and the Paralympics as a whole movement has kind of opened that up to us. So like I said, I've been around for a while, so I've done 7 Paralympic Games now. I think it's 7, 8 if I go to Paris. And back in Atlanta, the coverage we used to get, we used to basically have about a half-hour highlight show at the end of the day. It would cover basically all the gold medalists that won. And basically, if you were in athletics or swimming, you got coverage. If you were in some of the other sports, you probably just got a quick mention at the end of it, and that was it. By the time we got to Sydney, the Paralympics had changed as a movement, and Sydney was a real Paralympic Games as an eye-opener for me, being an athlete. And you could tell there was a difference in attitude. The crowds that we had in the swimming pool, I remember I swam in the 4x100 freestyle relay, and we had 17,500 people in the crowd at the side, and they make a hell of a noise, especially when you're beating Australia, because they're trying to cheer on Australia, and you're denying them that gold medal, which is always good. But yeah, the Paralympics in Sydney really kind of moved forward. And then by the time we got to Athens, we've got live coverage. We had live coverage from the swimming and the athletics, and people have begun to understand what the Paralympics are about. Go to Beijing, the world of the internet has really kind of taken off. There's live interactive red button stuff that's on TV. There's the highlights package, and it's getting a lot more professional. But between Beijing and London, the coverage went from BBC to Channel 4. Channel 4 basically put in a bid, and they got the rights to run the Paralympics. And with that came a huge advertising campaign of the Superhumans. And it's like, meet the Superhumans. I'm just up there in the helmet at the end, that's me. And I got to see myself on billboards all around and stuff. And the Superhumans really kind of was something that Channel 4 set out, that they wanted to introduce these athletes that we're pretty special and shouldn't be overlooked by our Olympic counterparts. And with their new kind of coverage, they were able to tap into the stories, make more progress about the athletes. And the actual process when you're at the games, like all the previous games, it had always been the BBC. And all of the staff that had been there 2 weeks prior to it doing the Olympic Games. So then by the time they got to the Paralympics, you've got some very tired staff, very tired presenters and cinematographers and everybody that's there. And the atmosphere isn't as kind of welcoming. But by the time we got to London, it was a home games. It was a whole fresh look at the games. And the Superhumans campaign kind of really launched Paralympic sport. And the Paralympic Games was a huge success in London. It was Paralympics coming home, really. It really opened the eyes up to people, and was live coverage. It was 400 hours of coverage. We're talking massive amounts more than we've ever had in the past. So that means people are on TV. You get to meet athletes. You get to see who Ellie Simmonds is. You've got Johnny Peacock literally silencing a whole crowd before his 100 meters. It was fabulous, and it's something that we'd never had before. London didn't go so well for me. I had a bit of a false start, swore a lot, and then got a bronze medal the following day. But like, as an event, it was fabulous to be part of. Also, with the London 2012 Games, we had the last leg was launched. Now, the last leg was really important for Paralympic sport because it had the hashtag, is it okay? And that was basically something they used on Twitter, where you basically, if you had a question about disability or how somebody does something, there was no kind of holds bars. They basically asked us all these different questions. They put it out there and they answered it on TV. And it basically opened the world up of Paralympic sport and how Paralympians deal with day-to-day processes, and opened up questions that, like if you were sat on the sofa with a recent disability, it's like, how do I do that? Then you're seeing athletes on the TV doing things that you can't even imagine they do. And it reached 69% of the UK population. So it was a huge deal for Paralympians, and there was a lot of household names that would kind of come out of it. So to follow that up, for Rio, we're the Superhumans. And this was an award-winning advertising campaign. We've just seen it. There was over 140 different participants in there with disabilities, all showing off all their different skills. So it wasn't just the athletes. It was people doing lots of different things and just showing what you can do with disability, and that there's not a kind of barrier to do anything. And off the back of that, you had the Rio coverage, which, I mean, we've gone up from what we had in London. We've got 700 hours across all of their channels now, which is huge. They ran an advertising campaign. So basically, they wanted to get disability into adverts and show it. So we might remember the Malteser adverts, and I think there was £1 million prize as well for that. So it was a big deal. And the campaign that we've just watched was the most shared Olympic and Paralympic social media campaign that was out there. So it really did kind of cement that foundation that you'd built in London. And then we went on to Tokyo, and we had Super.Human, which was the following thing, which is basically showing the human side of the athletes, how basically they had the commitments of the training and things that were going on. If you've seen the video, the not being able to get into a shop because you're in a wheelchair and the steps too big, the athletes that were not able to make a kid's birthday party because they're committing to it. So it was just trying to show a different side to it compared to all of the other campaigns. It was a nice kind of trilogy of adverts that we've had. And there was over 300 hours of coverage across the TV, 16 live streams, over 1,000 hours of coverage, which is unheard of. And also, with that advent of disability being in the screen, 70% of the disability presenters had a disability, which is huge. And it's a legacy of all these campaigns, and the fact that the Rio one, which is the one that won at the Sports Industry Awards, is kind of cementing that. And if you look at it, like London paved the way for this, like that process going from BBC to Channel 4, they've really opened the doors to Paralympians. And myself and my colleagues and athletes, we've all seen that. There's a renewed interest in Paralympic sport. There's tons of stories. Like Paralympics is brilliant because every athlete has a story. It's the one thing when you look at the Olympics or whatever, you see the performances and then the stories. With the Paralympics, it's all about the story. And then it's like, oh my God, they just did that, or they went that fast, or they swam that quick, or did you see what they did? And the whole Paralympic movement itself is kind of raised in profile. You might see people now, like athletes, on your celebrity TV. So likes of Strictly, we had Johnny Peacock, we've had Lauren Steadman, we had Kadina Cox, won MasterChef, Celebrity MasterChef last year. You got Will, he was doing Strictly, you got SAS, and all these different things that people have been doing that we would never have done had we not had all these campaigns and this awareness that had been built over the years. And also, I've put a greater acceptance in the community. I mean, for me personally, walking down the street in a pair of shorts in the summer, I'd literally get stared at in the past. Now, like kids and their parents, they're not afraid to come up to me and ask me about my leg or ask people about the disabilities. And I know not everybody's comfortable talking about their disabilities and stuff, but it's a nice change to see. Rather than kind of frowned away, people are open to it and more accepting of that disability. But then, what can still be done? I mean, there's endless amounts. I mean, at the end of the day, we're Paralympians, and the Paralympics are a huge event every 4 years. But really, there's only the funding every 4 years to put the Paralympics on TV. So all the events in between that happen, World Championships, competitions and stuff, they really don't get the coverage. So you don't get that continuation and building of profiles of athletes. So every 4 years, it's you have to reintroduce people to the latest athletes and where they go. And with that, you've got to then continually educate people about disability. But the thing is that each year that we do the games, the profile gets bigger, and it kind of, the fall away is less and less and less. So as we go along, we get more. But obviously, there's changes in the community and stuff that we need to do. Like just general disability on the whole doesn't get the coverage it needs. And not everybody is superhuman. Not everybody does all these things. There are just general people that struggle with access, transport, care, all of those things that need to be looked after as well. And hopefully the Superhumans and all the different campaigns that have gone along can help build a profile and make us more accepted in the world. I've been John Candy, and thank you for listening.